بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيبي وحبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد
وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهاديين المهديين الذين أذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في محكم تنزيله: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ورسلا قد قصصناهم عليك من قبل ورسلا لم نقصصهم عليك صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Inshallah, tonight or this evening we will continue with our discussions regarding the Usool-e-Deen. And inshallah, this evening I want us to discuss about the third Usool-e-Deen, which is Naboowat, the Prophethood. Number one, what is the meaning of Naboowat? And Naboowat, the word that we use, Naboowat, the word comes from the word Naba. I don't know if I need to write it down in order to clarify it. Number one, you have this word here. We have the word An-Naboowat. That's the word in Arabic. An-Naboowat, which means prophethood. This word An-Naboowat is driven from the word Naba. Naba means in Arabic news. News in Arabic is two kinds. Okay? Now sometimes you hear they call it khabar. The plural of this is called akhbar. If you look at those Arabic channels, when they give news, they call it akhbar, news. Now this one also is called news. But what's the difference between this and this? The difference in Arabic, if you use khabar, it's a news that might be important and it might not be important. But when you use the word naba, it's a news that is very, very important. That is why in the Quran, anytime you see Allah use naba, it's something that is important. For example, in Surah An-Naba, amma yatasa'alun anin naba'il azim. Allah said, about what are they asking? And then the answer came, anin naba'il azim. They are asking about a great news. Now Allah put naba is al-azim, great news. Now Allah added great because it's about what? Naba, because naba is always something that is important. Number two, so from now, when you read Quran and you see this word, you will always find out the story that comes after that is something that is important. Number two, from the Quran, read Surah Al-Kahf, the chapter of cave. You will see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala use about the same word too. Because the people of cave was one of the important news in Islam. By the way, how did that happen? You know the Surah Al-Kahf. The reason why it was revealed, it was a bunch of Christians. They sat down and come up with 40 great scholars among them. And they said to them, these 40 scholars, and when I say scholars, I mean smartest one among them. And they said to them, look, we want to send you to Mecca or to Medina. At that time the Prophet was in Medina. Go and talk to the Prophet Muhammad. And when you talk to him, we can come up with 3 the most difficult questions that he cannot answer, just to prove that he's not a prophet. They sat down, those scholars, they have group, they sat and days coming up, trying to come up with the questions. They finally were able to come with 3 questions. Toughest question. And I said, okay, now we're going to go and meet Prophet Muhammad. And those questions, look at the trick. They say the 3 questions, 2 of them can be answered. And the 3rd one cannot be answered. They know that. But I said, go and ask him these 3 questions. If he answers all the 3 questions, he's a liar. That's a simple way to know that he's a liar, he's not a prophet. But if he answered 2, and he said, no, the 3rd one, only Allah knows, and that means he's a true prophet. So go. He packed the stuff, they went to Medina. He met the Prophet, Salaamu Alaikum, wa Alaikum Salam, how are you? They settled down. Question and answer session. Ya Rasulullah, I have a question for you. Go ahead. What is the question? The first question is, can you tell us detailed story about people of cave? Because at that time, nobody knows about the people of cave in details. Some say, as you see in the Quran in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah says some claim they are 4 and the dog plus dog 5. Some say no, they are 5 plus their dog is 6. Some say no, they are 6 plus dog is 7. Nobody knows that. So they wanted to know the real number of people of cave. When did that happen? Where did it happen? What is their story? That's the question number 1. Question number 2. Tell us about the prophet who was able to go around the world in a day. That's question number 2. Question number 3. They said, okay, if you answer these 2 first, we'll tell the 3rd one. Okay? Now they came to the prophet, they asked this first question. Ashab al-Kahf. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to the prophet, they ask you about Ashab al-Kahf. That's easy. We tell you who are Ashab al-Kahf. Then Allah started to tell the wahi, send the wahi to the prophet about Ashab al-Kahf. Who were they? إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ فَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. Allah said they were young men who were living under a tyrant called Diqyanus at that time, who wanted to force everyone to worship nobody but idols. And they refused to do that. At the end, they decided to leave the city. Quran gave them the story. But the point I'm bringing this here is that Quran said, Adnaba dhalika min amba. Allah said, this story that we tell you, but the word that Allah used, didn't use khabar. Allah used the word news, because this incident about Ashab al-Kahf is about something that is, either they become Muslim or they're not becoming Muslim. So it's a very important issue. So Allah used the word never in the story of cave. Now let me tell you the story before we continue with the lesson. Now the second question they ask about a prophet who was able to go around the globe. The Prophet Muhammad said that's easy. And so it's mentioned in Surah Al-Kahf. He said that prophet is called Dhul-Qarnayn. Okay? Dhul-Qarnayn is one of the prophets. Allah gave him this power. He can go around the globe. Some narrations say 7 times a day. And he was the one, the story talk about him. And also as Ya'juj and Ma'juj, the shortest people that he met, and they were doing a lot of corruption, and he was able to help the people of that time by putting them in a circle so they cannot hurt people after that. That is question number 2. Now what is the question number 3? They asked the prophet, when will the day of judgment be? And you know, this is one question nobody knows but Allah. So when I asked the prophet said, nobody knows. What do you ask me? The answer is belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and nobody else. Now after they heard this, a lot of them became they became Muslims in front of the prophet. They didn't even wait to go back home. No, in front of the prophet, it proved to them that the prophet is the true messenger. Now the reason I brought all this is what? Because of the word Naba. Now that's number 2. Number 3, when you go to Surah Al-Maryam, Allah talks about the prophet, also Prophet Isa alayhi salam, that after Allah told him about Isa, how was he born, his mother Maryam and all that, then Allah said, ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاء. Now when you look at Surah Al-Kahf, you see Allah use the word ذَلِكَ مِنْ أَنْبَاءِ الْغَيْبِ. The word Anba is the plural of Naba, which means what? News. These are the hidden news we brought to you. Now the reason why I'm bringing all this to give us the meaning of the word Naba. Now the Naba is news. Why did the Naba come from Naboowat? Because every prophet that comes, he brings a news from Allah. He has something from Allah for you and I. That is why it's called Naboowat, prophethood, meaning somebody who carry news from Allah to us. So that is where the word Naboowat comes from. Good. Now the same word also is what we call Nabi. Nabi means a prophet. Good. But then sometimes you see we call some of them also Rasul. Right? Sometimes we say Rasulullah, Nabi Allah. Right? Now sometimes those prophets, they are divided into two. Some of them, they can only carry this name but not this name. Some of them who can carry this, they automatically can carry this. Now what's the difference? And Nabi, here brothers and sisters, we have two kinds of Nabi. There is Nabi, which is who receives the message from Allah, and they are obligated to tell us. That is one. And some of them, they receive the message from Allah, but they are not obligated to tell you. It's like sometimes you tell somebody and you say, this is just for your information, not to share with anybody. Allah tells them some things and He tells them, this is for just you, don't tell anybody. And I give an example. Even the Prophet also had the same thing. When the Prophet went Isra and Mi'raj, Allah spoke to the Prophet, and then on top of that, He gave him Salah. But the communication between him and Allah was private. We don't know that. But then Salah, Allah said, you can share this, but you cannot share this with the people. So if the Prophet, he has a news that he can share, sometimes they call it Nabi, and sometimes if they cannot share, also they call him what? Nabi. That is Nabi. And then Rasul. Rasul also is come from the word Risala. Risala means what? Message. Like sometimes somebody texts you, you get a text message, don't you? That text message in Arabic is called what? Risala. Now, okay, those prophets also, it's like Allah is texting them something. Right? Now Allah texts them, this is what you have to tell people. What is that text that they get? That is what we call Quran, or a book of Allah. Right? They get that text message from Allah. And when they get that text message, those prophets who get text message, in today's word, they are called Rasul. Now those who get just the wahi, they don't get the text, they are called what? Nabi. So every prophet who get the message from Allah is called, automatically is Nabi. But not every Nabi is Rasul. I don't know if it's clear. It's a little trick here. I just need a little, shaking brain, but it's easy to understand. So Nabi is somebody who received the message from Allah, right? And received the wahi, revelation from Allah. And the messenger, he received text. Meaning what? He is sent to us along with the book. Example, Prophet Isa. Example, Prophet Noah. Example, Prophet Muhammad. They all had book. So any prophet who has a book is called what? A Rasul. A prophet who doesn't have a book is called what? Nabi. So any prophet who is Rasul, you are allowed to call him Nabi too. Right? That's why our prophet, you say As-salam in your namaz, you say Assalamu alayka ayyuha Nabi. And then in the same tashahhud you say Assalamu ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. In the same tashahhud you call him Rasul here and you call him Nabi here too. It's one person because he is automatically Rasul, so he is automatically Nabi too. Right? But if he is Nabi, then they are not automatically what? Al-Rasul. Got it. Now, when in our Aqidah and Naboowat, we are talking about these two prophets, meaning and Nabi and Rasul at the same time. Okay? Now, why do we have to believe in the prophethood as a Shia followers or Muslim in general? Because remember, this Aqidah is very important in Islam. Believing in the prophet, in their book, is very important to the point where Allah made it one of the signs of Muttaqeen in Surah Al-Baqarah. That those who believe in the Prophet and their books, Allah said is the sign of Muttaqun. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Baqarah, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. That's one. وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةِ. That's two. وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ. That's three. وَالَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ مِنْ قَبْلِكَ وَبِالْآخِرَةِ هُمْ يُوقِنُونَ. Allah said, those who believe the message that was revealed upon you. And then they believe in the message that was sent upon the previous prophet as well. Allah said, number 5, and then they are also believers in the day of judgment. These 5 things, Allah said, is what? Is a sign of muttaqi. For that matter, believing in the prophet is what? Is very, very important. Now, why is it important? Why do we have to believe in prophet? Now, here's the reason. Number 1, see, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us, the aim is, Allah wanted us to reach to the highest level of happiness. That's the aim of Allah. Like you as a parent, when you have a child, you want the child to grow up, educated, and have a comfortable life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted every one of us to reach that goal as well. Right? But how can we reach to that goal that Allah wants? If Allah is to leave us alone, we cannot get to that. We cannot get that to that level. Why? Because our brain is not that strong in order to reach to that level. Example, like if a mom gave a birth today to the child, a baby is born today, and then the mother said to the baby, Alhamdulillah, you arrived safely, you are healthy, you're good. Alhamdulillah, now you don't need me. If you want to go to Walmart, the Walmart is right there. If you want to go to Target, it's right there. If you want 911, just press this button, inshallah, your problem will be solved. Khuda Hafiz. You think the baby is going to survive? No. Why? Because with his brain and his body, he is not capable of taking care of himself. The same thing applies to us. If Allah said to all of us that you live your life and without need of the Prophet of Allah, we cannot survive on our own. And the history has proven that. Before the Prophet, how did the Arabs used to live? The jungle, they call it. Right? The stronger one attacks the weaker one. Nothing called human rights. Nothing called humanity among the people. Because the system is not a system that a human being can live in. Because their brain cannot come with those type of rules and regulation that can lead every one of them to live in the good and the best life. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have to send Prophet to come and guide us. That is the reason. Now if somebody asks you, why do we need a Prophet? Because our aql, our brain is not complete to bring or to come up with all the necessary things that we need to lead ourselves to that happiness that Allah wants. That is why Allah sent the prophets. Now, those prophets, when they come, they always need 2 things. Now, because when the prophet comes, how do we know that he's a prophet? There are 2 things you have to look for. The first thing you have to look for the prophet, number 1, they call it, and according to our scholars, when a prophet comes, he has to present something we call a da'wah. A da'wah means he has to claim that he is a prophet. Otherwise, if somebody comes as a prophet, but it's not talking, it's not saying anything, how are you going to know he's a prophet? The first thing they have to do is to say, I am a prophet. That's why you see, every one of those prophets, when they came, they all claim, they all say, I am a prophet. Including Isa alayhi salam. He was in the grave. As soon as they asked him, they said, who are you? قال إني عبد الله آتاني الكتاب وجعلني نبيا. They have to claim. Now claim is not enough. Everybody can claim. Everybody can say I'm a prophet too. Can't you? Then we can. So what happened after that? Now after they claim, they need something that is even stronger than this, which is called a proof of their claim. Because this first one, everybody can do it. But the second one, nobody can do it except those who are prophet. What is the second one? They call it al-mu'jiza. Al-mu'jiza means what? Means miracle. They have to prove with the miracle. Because if you and I say I'm a prophet, okay, everybody can say that. But can I back up with what I say? Or I cannot. If I cannot, then that means I'm not a true prophet. But if I can back up with what I said, with the proof, then that is called a true prophet. Now from this word al-mu'jiza, This word comes from the word the ajiz. When they call it mu'jiza, it's from the word the ajiz. Ajiz means what? Something that nobody cannot do it. Nobody can do it. Al-ajiz means something that nobody is able to do it. If a prophet comes and performs something that somebody can do it, that is not called mu'jiza. They have to make sure that their mu'jiza is something that nobody can ever be able to perform. And that is what is called mu'jiza. That is to back up, they claim the second one. And what is more important, brothers and sisters, when they bring the mu'jiza also, the mu'jiza have to make sure that it matches as something that people of that time can do. But it's above them. I don't know if it's clear. It's something that people can do at that time. Something similar to what they do. But what the prophet brings is above their ability for them to surrender for that prophet. Example, Prophet Musa alayhi salam. When Allah sent him, it was at the time where magic is well spread among people. Right? So Allah sent him with something similar, looks like magic, but it's above magic. What is it? A stick. Right? It looks like a stick. But when he throws it down, it becomes what? A snake. When he picks it up, it turns to what? To a stick. Now this looks like magic, and they think it's something they can do. But when they try to compete, they realize that no, this is not what we think. This is above us. That is number one. Number two, you come to also the same Prophet Isa, Prophet Musa, his hand also. You know, one of his miracles was his hand. You know, Musa alayhi salam, when he was young, you know, Musa alayhi salam was put into test. What test was it? Because he used to pull the beard of Pharaoh. When Pharaoh put him on his lap playing with him, he always pulled his beard. Because you know, Pharaoh used to have a long beard, and he used to stuck his money into his beard. Because those days they didn't have any bank. So where would he take his money to? He doesn't trust anybody, so he trusts himself. So he has his beard as a Wachovia, Wells Fargo, where he can stick all the money in there and keep it there for years. And mashallah, that beard of Pharaoh, if you get a piece, mashallah, you can live off of this for years. Because it's nothing but gold. And which gold are we talking about? We're talking about the most expensive ones. And the history says he has 200 Bani Israel who are just the tellers of that bank. All they do is to stack the money in his beard. Every single day. Now Musa alayhi salam, who was a baby, he used to pull that beard all the time. And one day he pulled it so strong that Pharaoh got hurt. And Pharaoh decided to kill Musa alayhi salam. Asiya, his wife, said, no, don't kill him, he's still a baby. Then he said, I'm going to test him. If he's a baby or not. If he does what I think, then that means he's not a baby, then I'm going to kill him. But if he does opposite, then I will not kill him. So what did he do? He brought a gold and a fire. And he put Musa in the between. To go and pick one of them. And this is his idea. If he goes and picks the fire, then that means he's a child. He doesn't know what fire is, what burns. But if he goes and picks a gold, that means that he knows what he's doing. He's not a baby. He needs to be killed. Musa alayhi salam, as you know, our prophet and imams, they are not babies. They might be baby in the law, but their brain is not a baby brain. Musa alayhi salam, when he was going towards the gold, because he knows this is a fire, right? So as he was going to the gold, Allah sent Jibreel to move his hand towards the fire, just to rescue him, to save his life. Musa alayhi salam went to the fire, picked up the fire, and guess what did he do? Put it in his mouth. So he burned his tongue and burned his hand. That is why in Surah Taha, when Allah was sending him to Pharaoh, he said to Allah, Ya Allah, can you send my brother with me? Because from that day he couldn't speak clearly. That's why he said, Irsal ma'i akhi Harun huwa afsahu minni lisanan. Send my brother with me because he can speak better than I am. That is the reason why he couldn't speak better. But guess what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He takes something from you, He gives you the better one. Allah is not like you and I. When I take something, I give you the worst. No, Allah takes something, He gives you the best. Now, Allah took when Allah made His hand to burn to save him, Allah, when He decided to send him to Pharaoh, Allah said, "Udmum yadaka ila jana'ik." He said, just your hand, just make sure that you squeeze it towards your body a little harder and see what happens. He did. And then as soon as he looked in the hand turns like a light. That anytime he turns his hand like this, it turns like a light, like tail, and the tail light, that it can see miles away. In the darkness where nobody has a torchlight, a flashlight, or anything, Musa a.s. his hand like this, he can show you miles away as they walk in the desert, and you don't have to worry about anything. Allah said that is the reward for us making your hand burn. We replace it with something that is better than what we took from you. That is the Musa a.s. So Musa a.s. when he used to pull Pharaoh's beard, Pharaoh la'anatullah alayh, he thought that this was what? This was not a child. He wanted to kill Musa a.s. So what happened? Musa a.s. was rescued by Allah through this way. But the point I want to make you mention is that at the time of Musa a.s., when the miracle that Allah gave him was the hand plus the stick. Now this looks like magic that people of that time used to do, but at the same time it's above them. That is why those magicians, when they came and they challenged Musa a.s. and they saw that what Musa brought is not like what they have, they immediately surrender and they want to search them. That is people of Musa a.s. Now you come to Prophet Isa a.s. This miracle also similar. Prophet Isa was sent at a time where people were into medicine. They know how to medicate and do medicines so much. People were proud of being doctors. Allah sent them Isa a.s. and Allah gave him a miracle. And that miracle looks like something they do, which is what? Curing people, but above what they have. What did Allah give Musa? Isa? Isa was what? Everything that is sick, just wipe on it and it's done. That's why it's called, his name, Prophet Isa alayhi salam. If you look in the Quran, it's called Masih. Masih, from the word Masah. You read in the Quran, وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ وَأَرْجُلَكُمْ. Wipe. In Surah Ayah of Wudu, we said, وَامْسَحُوا بِرُؤُوسِكُمْ. Wipe your head and your 2 feet, right? From the word Masah. So Isa alayhi salam, his miracle is to wipe on anything that he wants, and it turns to the way he wants them. Somebody's blind, all he did to do is to wipe on their eyes, and they get their eyes back. Somebody cannot hear, they're deaf, he wiped on their ear, and they started to hear. That was the miracle that Allah sent to Prophet Isa alayhi salam, which looks like medicine, but is above them. Now you come to our Prophet also. Allah sent him at the time where Arabs were proud of their own language. Arabs were proud of being poets. They were proud of writing and saying some poems. Allah sent them a book which looks like something they can do. Which is what? Quran. But it's above their ability. And that is why when Quran was sent to them, they said that, oh, this is nothing. But Prophet Muhammad sat down and wrote it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, if Muhammad wrote the Quran, then I urge you to go and write something similar like this Quran and bring it as a proof. Allah gave them a time. They went and struggled and struggled. They were not able to do it. Allah said, maybe the whole Quran is too much. Okay, I ask you to bring 10 surahs, just 10. They went, they were not able to bring it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, okay, maybe 10 is too much, but just bring 1 surah. Like Inna Ataynaka al-Kawthar, the shortest of surah in the Quran. Inna Ataynaka al-Kawthar, fasalli li rabbika wanhar, inna shani'aka huwa al-abtar. Just as short as this surah. They were not able to write it. Then Allah said, okay, if you cannot write the whole Quran, you cannot come up with the 10 ayah, 10 surahs, you cannot come even one surah, then this is an indication that this is not from human but from Allah. And then Allah gave them the general rule. Allah said, this Quran that we sent, even if you are to bring the entire jinn from the time of Adam alayhi salam up to now. And then you bring all human beings from the time of Adam up to now. And they all cooperate one another to come up with a book like Quran. Allah said they cannot do it. Allah said they cannot. That is why when somebody says that Shia has another Quran, then they don't know what they're talking about. Because Allah said in the Quran clearly that no human being can come up with the Quran. Now you say that Shia has a Quran. Either you don't understand your own Quran or you don't know what you're talking about. Because Quran says that nobody can come up with the Quran except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So now going back to the point, every prophet who comes, they have to present two things. One is what we call a da'wah. They have to claim prophecy. Number two, they have to back up with them. That is number one. Now their mu'jiza is two things. Remember careful. Every prophet when they come, they have to do two kind of mu'jiza, miracle. One miracle is something he gives himself. Another miracle people have to ask him to do. See the point? Because if he comes, maybe he's talented in this field, right? Then he can do that. But if he's not able to perform something with people ask him, then that means he's not a true prophet either. So two miracles he has to perform. One is from him to show that he is capable and he's a prophet. And number two, something people have to ask him and he has to do it. For example, like Prophet Salih alayhi salam, when his people ask him, we want a camel coming from this mountain, a camel and a baby camel together. And he performed it. Our prophet also was asked numerous times. Like one time, they asked the prophet, can you let these three to prove that you're a prophet or not? The prophet said, that's easy. What is it? He said, talk to the tree that Prophet Muhammad is calling it. They went and told the tree, Prophet Muhammad is calling you. They standing there and the tree started moving left and right and uprooted itself and walked towards Prophet Muhammad and said, Ashhadu annaka Muhammadun Rasulullah. That is a miracle that was presented by the Prophet. This is after people requested. Another one, pebbles, he talked. They said, can you make this pebble to talk? The Prophet said, sure. He picked up the pebbles and he said the pebble talks, say something. And the pebble said the Shahadatain too. They were listening. That was people's request afterward from our dear Prophet. So every prophet, when they come, they have to present two kinds of proof. Number one is something from them, from Allah, or something that people ask them. That is the proof. Now the third part is that every prophet who comes, they have to meet certain qualities. They have to meet certain qualities. And which qualities are we talking about? Every single good quality that is out there, they have to have it. In other words, any attribute that you can think of, any quality that is good, the prophet have to be the first one above everybody. Example, knowledge. If the knowledge is good, now the prophet of the time have to be the most knowledgeable one among everyone. That's two. That's one. Number two, we say that the prophet have to be the strongest one above everyone. If you have a prophet who is scared from their own shadow, you want to go to war, and then he starts over and says, no, I can't go. That prophet is not a prophet. The prophet should be what? The strongest one, like our dear prophet. And Imam Ali mentioned that in Najl Balagh. He said, Imam Ali is describing the prophet, he said, Kunna idha hamiya al-watiz naludhu bi Rasulillah. He said, when we are in the battlefield, and the battle becomes very tough, he said, we used to hide behind the prophet. All the companions, they all come and they stand to hide behind the prophet, and the prophet will be the leader. And Imam Ali said, he used to say, Ana nabiyyu la ghayr. I am the prophet, no one else. And he is the leader, and everybody follows after that. Knowledge-wise, also the same. He has to be the most knowledgeable, that everyone in among the companions or in the world of that time is behind him in knowledge. That is number two. Number three, also he has to be somebody who fears Allah the most. If you have a prophet, somebody fears Allah more than him, there is a problem there. Because he's supposed to lead people. Now somebody who is not more fearful to Allah than him should be the leader. So then he's not a leader at that point. So one of the qualities of the Prophet, they have to be the most fearful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is number 3. Number 4, which is very important also, they have to be ma'soom. They have to be ma'soom. Meaning what? They have to be somebody who does not commit any sin. And that is very important. The Sunnah wal Jama'ah, they say no, it doesn't have to. They have to be ma'soom, and when they receive the revelation from Allah, and when they deliver the message of Allah. But other than this, they are not ma'soom in any of it. They are like anybody else. But the Shia school of thought says no, they have to be ma'soom from the day they were born till the day they die. And there's receiving revelation, and now and any other thing as well. They have to be ma'soom. But I'm just going to give you 2 reasons, 2 actual reasons. That's it. And inshallah, the rest of them we'll talk about it later. One of the wisdom why we believe that the Prophet must be ma'soom. See, they say number 1, every human being has 2 kinds of need. Every one of us. Our first need is what? Is physical needs. And then it's that we need food to eat. If you don't eat, you cannot survive. You have to eat. You have to drink. If we say that we're not going to eat, then our life is in danger. So we have to eat. Now, this food to keep us alive, Allah made it to be ma'soom. How? You take a seed of any tree. You plant it. Did you ever see the plant or the seed to make a mistake and grow something else other than what it is? When you take, let's say you take the seed of orange and you plant the orange. Have you ever seen the seed to turn to banana one day? You plant the seed of orange and you grow up, mashallah, it's banana. They made a mistake. They didn't know that it's orange. It turns to be banana. Have you ever seen that? No. Every seed that you plant, it gives you exactly what is that plant, what is it, what the seed is about. This is to give you food of your stomach. Right? Allah made this seed ma'soom, they don't make mistake. What about the need of your soul? Just to eat and drink. Allah made the seed to be what? Ma'soom. Now the one who, the food of your soul, shouldn't that be more important than the food that you put in your mouth? Now if Allah made the food that you put in your mouth to be ma'soom, shouldn't the food of your soul, which is more important, should be ma'soom as well? And that is one of the akal we say, here if Allah made this ma'soom, then this one must be ma'soom as well. And that is the reason we say our Prophet must be ma'soom. That is number 1. Number 2, we say if the Prophet, when Allah sent the Prophet, the aim is to do what? For us to follow them and obey them and listen to them and learn from them. True or false? Allah said in the Quran that the reason why we send the Prophet is so they will be obeyed. Now if we know that the Prophet is not ma'soom, he can make mistakes. He tells us about Salah. We don't trust him. He might make a mistake. He tells us that Salatul Maghrib is 3 rakah. He might be mistaken. It might be 2 rakah, but he doesn't know. Now, obeying this Prophet as we should, and the value that the Prophet is supposed to have in the sight of Allah and in our heart, will be lost in this case because nobody is going to trust him at that point. And if nobody trusts him, then the aim of being a prophet and a leader will be lost in that situation. And that means being a prophet will not longer be important to people at that time. So the prophet must be ma'soom. This is just intellectual part, but there are ayat of the Quran that also prove that. But the point is this, every prophet must be ma'soom. Okay? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them, they have to be ma'soom. Now one important question. Did Allah send, why did Allah send all the prophets to the Middle East? Another question. We don't have any hadith or ayah. Allah said, okay, I sent a prophet to, let's say for example, to the United States. They were born and raised in the United States. Where every prophet we hear, they all were in the Middle East. You go to Yahya, Zakaria, Mary, everybody is in the Middle East. Why? Isn't that looks like discrimination? That they'll get the prophet and we have to listen. And even though the prophet is not from us. Is that what it is or no? The answer is no. Every nation, Allah had sent a prophet to them. Every nation, that's what the Quran says. وَمَا مِنْ أُمَّةٍ إِلَّا خَلَى فِيهَا نَذِيرٌ. Every prophet, Allah said, every nation, Allah said, we made sure that they have a prophet. So not all the prophets were sent to the Middle East. Yes, majority of them were sent from the Middle East, but not all of them. Every nation, Allah said they had a prophet. Now the question is, why do all of them, or most of them, have to be in the Middle East? Here's the reason. Because Middle East is considered the center of the world. And if you start something from the center, it can spread to the other part of the world easier than if it starts from somewhere else. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He was to start, He starts always from what? From the center of the world, which happened to be in the Middle East. And that is why you see, even this is the custom of Allah, that always He starts from the center. And I'll give an example in Hadith al-Kisar. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Jibreel asked him, Ya Rabbi, waman tahta al-Kisar? Huwa anna kafir. You know what Allah said? Hum Fatima wa abuha wa ba'luha wa banuha. Allah didn't start with the Prophet, no. He didn't start with Imam Ali, even though they are there. But He said, Hum Fatima, because Fatima is the center. And then from Fatima, there is connection with the Risala, which is the Prophet. And then connected with the what? With the Imam. So Allah started with the center, and then goes to the Prophet, and then Imam, and then the rest of the Imams as well. So that is the importance of centerhood, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala started sending those prophets from the center, which is the Middle East, and then it continued from there. That is number one. Number two, some scholars say, okay, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when He sent the prophet, not necessarily that the prophet have to go to that city or that country. No. What is important is the message of that prophet to get to the people. That prophet might be there or might not be there. It's not important. What is important is the message to get to people. Like us today, the prophet didn't come to United States to live with us and teach us the Quran, but his message got to us or not? Yes, it did. And that is what Allah wants, that the message to get to you, whether the prophet is there or not. But what is more important is, in every nation, there have to be a prophet. But some prophet that are sent to be for the entire world, yes, they might not be able to be everywhere because of the time limit, because of the certain circumstances, but they will make sure that there is the message that will get to every one of the people that they're supposed to get the message to. Okay, so come to the conclusion, when we say a prophet, they have to be the people who are pure and have certain qualities, and they have to meet those conditions. If they are, then they become prophet. Now the last question. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala stated that all the prophets that He sent, they happen to be men, not women. Why? Isn't that discrimination?
Yes.
Sisters want to be prophets too. But why Allah says, all the prophets that we sent, they all happen to be men, not women. Women would like to be prophets too. They would like to be leaders too. But Allah didn't choose it. Why? Here is the reason. They say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from the one, when He created male and female, He has designed each one of them for certain responsibilities. Let me give you an example. Like window and a door. Window was designed to be a window, and the door was designed to be a door. Now if you switch it, what are you trying to do? Disaster. Right? Because a window cannot take the place of a door, because it's not meant to be a door. If you switch the door to become a window, it's not going to happen because it was not meant to be. Right? That is what we are also compared to this simple example. Now, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way Allah created a man was created to take care of certain responsibility. A woman also was created to take care of certain responsibility. One of that responsibility of a man is to be a leader at any time. A woman can be a leader, but not at all the time. And that's how she was designed. One of the things that she cannot be a leader all the time is when she's pregnant. Let's say a war has happened, she's in labor. We need you to lead. Can it happen? No, it doesn't. Because her body was not designed to be a leader at all the time. And the position requires the leadership all the time. So the way Allah created a woman is not for that type of responsibility, but for another responsibility. But you know what the responsibility of women? Which is, I think, is even more higher than this one. And that is to raise people to become prophets. They are not prophets, right? But they are the one who give birth to those prophets and raise them to be the leaders of all mankind. And that itself is what? It's a great honor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to women. That they are the one who carry prophet, give birth to them, raise them, and make them leaders for the world, prepare them for the world. And that is one of the responsibility Allah has given them. But yes, they can still be leaders in certain fields, but the Prophet's wives, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, we are made this to be for just men to take this responsibility. Wa sallallahu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Now we go to question and answers, if there are any.
I can start. So,
Yes,
Masoom, normally all the prophets, except for Hazrat Adam,
yes.
did he commit that sin, or it was really not a sin, the disobeying Allah? Because that's the only sin that we have come across committed by a prophet.
No, there are some of them.
Okay, more.
There are many of them in the Quran. Allah mentioned that they committed some of that. Example like Yunus alayhi salam, who was swallowed by a whale. The reason was he left his people before Allah told him to leave. So Allah made him to be swallowed by the whale. That is one. Another one they say is about Prophet Ibrahim. Unfortunately, some people say he lied. Because when he broke those idols, he did break the idols. Quran confirmed that he broke the idol. But when they came and asked him, he said, no, ask the bigger one. He's the one who did it. So he lied there. He did something, but then he tried to blame the other one. So that's also another lie that the Prophet did. On top of that, there's another one. They said, our Prophet also, they say he also was a sinner. Because Allah stated in Surah Al-Fatah, لِيَغْفِرَ لَكَ اللَّهُ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبٍ. Which is the literal meaning, for Allah to forgive you your past and the coming sin. So that's to commit sin. Otherwise, why would Allah say to forgive your sin? That is another one. Another one is Prophet Musa alayhi salam. When he killed the Qibti, that's also another sin. So all these, they say, how can they be ma'asum by acting this way? We say, of course, they are ma'asum, no doubt. But all these things are not sin. They are not sin. Why? Because in Islam we have two kinds of don't do. One is called Nahyan Irshadi, the second one Nahyan Mawlawi. Nahyan Irshadi is like to tell somebody don't do it, but in the form of advice. Then the second one, Mawlawi, it tells don't do, but in the form of law. If you do it, there is punishment. Example, like if you tell, as if a police tells you don't run a red light, you know that if you run the red light, there is what? There is consequences. The law, you cannot do that. That is a law. That is don't do. But then another one, you go to the doctor tells you, don't eat sweet tonight. Okay, if you eat the sweet, are you getting a ticket from the doctor? The doctor is not going to write you a ticket and say, I told you not eat sweet, so you eat, so here's the fine, $200. You have to pay or you go to jail. No, he says that advice to you. You listen, alhamdulillah. You don't listen, that's it. It's up to you, right? So they both don't do, but one of them there is punishment with it, and the other one there is no punishment. Now with the Prophet is the same. What Allah told them in all this situation is the first one, which is the form of advice. It's not the law that they broke. But their level being prophets and pure people is considered sin for their level, even though it's not a sin. I'll give you an example. Is wearing jeans haram? Is wearing t-shirt haram? No. Okay. If somebody pray with the jeans, is that haram? No. Now, if Sayyid Sistani comes here with the jean and t-shirt, how would you react? So Sayyid Sistani comes here, mashallah, with his amama, but is wearing jean, and then, for example, he says on his stage, Virginia Raw. And then you look at it and say, oh my God, Sayyid Sistani? Okay, is it haram? No. But for his level, you think it's haram? It's not haram, but you, no, this is not, you shouldn't be doing this. Even though I know it's not haram, but this is for us, not Maulanas, right? So even though it's not a sin, but for your view, it's considered sin. That is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala look at those prophets. That what they did is not a sin, but at their level, there is a higher expectation from them. So that is what is called, that's what we call them in the fiqh, Tarq Bab al-Awla, means something that shouldn't be done, even though it's not a sin, but it shouldn't be done. So that is what those, what happened with those prophets. Yes, yes.
Is there any historical proof of prophets outside of the Middle East? Like, are there any historic reference?
Absolutely. Even Quranic references, there is Luqman alayhi salam. When you go to Tafsir al-Mizan, Allama Tabatabai, he said he was a prophet sent to Africa. He was not in the Middle East. He lived in Africa and he was a prophet sent to Africa. And then there is other prophet also that Quran didn't mention them. Because you know, Quran only mentioned 25 prophets. But out of these 20, out of the entire prophet, 124,000 prophets Allah created. Most of those prophets, the one that Allah only mentioned in the Quran is 25. The rest of them, they're there, but Allah didn't mention them. Historical, when you go, yes, like Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he mentioned so many of them and their stories. Like one story, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq mentioned that there were a prophet, he used to be named Khalid. And he was sent to somewhere like in Asia. That was where he was sent. And he lived among his people, but Allah, before he died, Allah told him to tell his people the time he will die and when he will be resurrected. He will die and come back. But then he told his people that when I die, I will be dead for a certain period of time. But then you will see a camel. There will be a time that the camel will come crossing, like caravan of camels. If you see that caravan of camels, you will see one camel without a tail. If that happened, he said, come to my grave and call me. And I'll come back to life. Not only that, and then he said, before he died, he told his companions, I'm leaving the book of Allah with you. But that book will be in my room, but that book should not be touched by certain people. He made sure that he told them. But what happened? They didn't listen. They didn't listen. They let people who are not supposed to touch the book, they touched the book. So when the time came, the caravan of those camels were passing, they saw the camel with the short tail, as the Prophet told them, and they went there to call the Prophet. He didn't come out. Why? Because they let the people to touch the book that they're not supposed to touch. So he mentioned, this name is Khalid, and so many of them. So yes, historical wise, there are a lot of prophets that lived and they were sent into different places of their different time.
Could Buddha, for example, have been a prophet but was mistakenly, as in it became into Buddhism rather than following what he was supposed to be?
It could be, but as so far I haven't seen any of the scholars like maybe made a research and come to that conclusion. But in terms of it could be, yes, it could. It could be. Yes.
So, it's not mentioned that who was where. I mean, the prophets, only 24, we know for sure. So, for example, in India,
yes,
Hinduism believe in good people and bad people.
Wow.
So, is there a possibility that the prophets have been shared by two religions, like Hinduism and Islam?
Like Allah sent some prophet to Hindus and some to Muslims?
No, like same good people who were Hindus and they were considered like avatars or incarnation of the God or whatever. So, can they be prophet? Considered like avatars or incarnation of the God or whatever. So, can they be prophet?
I think he's saying that maybe a prophet, people misunderstood their message and considered them a god and started this religion.
Oh yes, of course, yes. Yes, there are certain people. It happened with our Imam Ali alayhi salam.
No, my question was not that. I mean, like Krishna or Rama, or they didn't say that we are gods, but people thought
took them as a god.
Yeah,
yes,
the
same thing.
But those people, could they be prophets?
Yeah, there might be some people like that. Yes, there might be some people like that's what I'm saying. That Imam Ali alayhi salam, he clearly stated that I'm not a prophet, I'm not a god. But there are people who took him as to be God. And Imam Ali even killed them at this time. You know, after the Fatah Khaybar, when they saw the miracle of Imam Ali, at the door that people opened, 44 men have to open it and close it. Imam Ali pulled it with just his finger and made it as a bridge for people to cross on it. He was holding it and they were crossing on it. And they were like, wow, this is not a human being's action. This must be God. A lot of them became to believe in God. So yes, there might be some prophet that people who were sent as a prophet, but people mistakenly after that, they took him as a God. One of the simple example is Isa alayhi salam. Prophet Isa was sent to us, we know he's a prophet, but because of certain miracle he presented, people tell him to be a God, and up to date they're still worshiping him as a God. So yes, there is a lot of possibilities.
I think the sister actually, if I understand what she was saying, that
yes,
like in Indian mythology, or like Guru Nanak, the head of the Sikhs, right? Due to the fact that these people possesses really great qualities, the qualities that are closely ascribed to the prophets. So I guess that's what you're saying, right? Are these potentially may have been the prophets because they possesses so gracious qualities that didn't even exist during that time, right?
Yeah.
People were mean, people were bad, people were killing each other, but somehow they were the very few ones who possesses those beautiful
good
qualities.
Yes.
Could they have? How did they get the inspiration to become that good quality, or to have that good quality? They had to have some sort of a divine intervention. That's what I always think about that as well, because, like 1600 years ago, 2000 years ago, there were some really good quality people, but they were from different parts of the world, right? Were they happen to be a proxy prophet that they received the messages from the prophets in the Middle East or something like that?
They might be. They might be, but we cannot confirm and say 100% they are.
Right.
But the possibility, yes, they might be. Because before we can say they are prophet, we have to find the two reasons that we mentioned. They have to claim and then they have to prove. But possibilities that they might be prophet, yes, that possibility is there. Yes, people who are very nice and they're kind, they're leaders, they have all the good qualities. Yes.
So following on from that, Ahl Kitab, what's the significance of that in terms of Najasat and Taharat, and how far can you stretch Ahl Kitab?
Ahl Kitab, according to our scholars, they are not najas. They are not najis. Ahl Kitab, according to our scholars, they're pure. That is why Quran says, when they cook, other than the meat. Other than meat, because unfortunately some people, they take Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say, وَطَعَامُ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ حَلٌّ لَكُمْ. Allah said, the food of the people of the book is halal for you. Yes, food, because when we say ta'am in Arabic is different. Because the word ta'am in Arabic, which the Holy Quran used, means a food without meat in it. In Arabic, when they have food with the meat, they don't call it ta'am, they call it maraq. And Allah didn't use that word. Allah used wa ta'am, means any food that does not contain meat. If they cook, yes, you're allowed to eat it, that's fine, because they are not najis. But if they slaughter a meat, whether they call it kosher or they call it different name, it's not halal for a Muslim to eat that meat. It must meet certain condition in Islam. But in terms of najasa and tahara, Ahlul Kitab are considered tahir. If they sweat and they touch you, that's fine. If they touch something wet and they touch you, it's still fine, it's not a problem. Except the mushrikun, they are the najis. But Ahlul Kitab, they're fine.
It's a different subject, but when you said the Prophet, has to have two conditions, right? For adab,
Yes.
announcement, and then the mu'jiza, right?
Yes.
It does. Historically, does every time when Prophet made that statement that I am the pronouncement of his prophethood.
Yes.
Was the environment like that where every time there was a wasi there? And
Yes,
that,
wasi.
and that, like Imam Ali during Saqiba, right? That happened, right?
Yes.
Was that true for all the prophets before Rasul? When they said that, like Musa alayhi salam, I am the prophet and these are my mu'jiza.
Yes.
Was the concept of wilayat associated right then and there?
Of course. Every prophet, Allah never sent a prophet unless that prophet has a wasi. From Adam alayhi salam up to our prophet. Every one of those prophets Allah sent, Allah made sure that they have wasi with them. Every one of them. No prophet without wasi. And simple example of that we live today. Have you ever seen a president without a vice president? Have you ever seen a country, they elected president but no vice president? They always, every country you go, they say, okay, this is the, before he even becomes a president, he already chooses vice. If I win, this is my vice. That is us, we as a human being. Now you think Allah SWT will send a prophet without telling the prophet you have to have somebody who, in case something happens to you, he can take care of you, and he can take care of the responsibility? Yes, so our belief is that from day one Allah created Adam alayhi salam, none of the prophet Allah sent unless they have wasi. Yes, so that's true. Yes, brother.
The previous question which like you said, the Ahl Kitab, we cannot consider meat because of the ziba.
Yes.
But how about seafood, in which like the ziba is not required?
The seafood, yes. If they catch a seafood, yes, we can eat it. That's fine. Because seafood doesn't require slaughter. So seafood, as long as they meet certain conditions, because here there is two different school of thought too. There are one school of thought